Good evening and welcome to episode 20 of Pokésports. We have broken the barrier of the teens and are now an adolescent podcast.
Oh my God.
We have broken into
my
adulthood.
age.
We can drive. We've been
No.
able to drive, and we haven't really said much about it. We've been driving all over the place and talking to different people from the Pokésport, from the Pokemon area.
Where are you going with this segue?
Oh man, we do a
You're trying to
podcast
find a
called
way.
Pokésports Plus. Oh man, dude, I am Mike, and I play with one Pokemon on the field.
I'm Kevin. I play with one tire on the field.
I'm sorry, how many?
2 tires.
2 tires on the. So you're a bicycle.
Yes.
So some
What are
people
you,
drive.
Mike? You're a unicycle.
Some people drive. Some people bike. I drive. I play with one Pokemon on the field. I pilot a unicycle. It is national. Oh wow, fitting. It is National Goof Off Day. Welcome to Sunday, March 22nd, National Goof Off Day. Gorsh, everybody. It is National Goof Off Day. I hope you have taken this time to let loose a little bit, maybe not be as stressed out over the week as you have been. Maybe you're, taking some time off from work. Maybe work has told you to take some time off. Maybe you're like Kevin and is working more than you've ever worked before.
Yep. You're doing the opposite of what the government tells you to.
Well, when you work in the essentials, they need you to do that.
People
Whereas for me, they're just like, no,
Mike.
stay home. No, don't go anywhere, please. Please don't. In fact, if you do go out, we'll find you. That's where that's not where I live.
No, that's actually happening here. I have a slip of paper that says that I work for this company that is essential. Like I have
Are you serious?
No, 100%. I don't have it with me. Oh yeah, wait. I do.
Whoa.
I literally have it right here.
Okay.
I'm supposed to hand this into officers. You guys can't see anything. Probably for the best.
Yeah, for the best.
I have to hand this to officers if I get pulled over on my way to work on my commute.
Wow.
And they're supposed to just like let me keep going.
Wow, look at that. I had no idea. I wonder if we're ever going to get there. I hope not.
Yeah, it's pretty bad here.
Which,
New York
I mean,
especially.
We'll see what happens by Wednesday, which is when this podcast comes out, which is National Waffle Day. So have yourself a nice little waffle. Are you working from home on Wednesday? Get yourself a waffle.
Lego my egos.
Lego my ego. Basically. But do you know the one place that is not affected by quarantine?
Let's hear it.
It's the Galar region. Yeah.
There it is.
Now, the Galar region has put together some new events this week. One being the Pokemon Completion Event Den, which is running right now until March 25th. It's pretty cool. I like the fact that they have one of those. So what this is basically a chance for you to actually go and complete your decks through doing things like dens and dens. And also dens
and fossils. With dens. And fossils.
So various version exclusives, rare Pokemon will start to appear in max raid battles with a bunch of rare rewards, which include fossils. Every non-Gigantamax Pokemon 3 stars or higher is 100% guaranteed to have their hidden ability too. So get yourself some super hidden ability people. Now's actually a really good time if you want to try and get yourself a competitive Ditto, like we were talking about in the last one. Get yourself a 5-star Ditto run. Get yourself that imposter Ditto, and then if it has 6 perfect IVs or 5 perfect IVs and 1 really no good speed, then you've got yourself a ready to go Ditto.
Trick Room Boy.
Trick Room
also,
Boy.
Defiant Braviary, Psychic Surgeon DDs, Defiant Pessimias, Overcoated Cavaliers, and more.
Lots of those.
Get those.
Get those.
But that's it for the news. Like we have almost no news this week.
Yeah, well,
it's almost like
there's
Game Freak is staying home.
It's almost like Game Freak is a company and is thus affected by the things going on in our real people world.
Yeah.
Impossible. Now we mentioned that Unova isn't privy to the virus outbreak, which is absolutely a good thing too, because this weekend is the Extreme Speed Singles Tournament, which Kevin and I both missed. Yeah.
Gotta go fast. We went so fast we missed it.
It went way too fast.
We went too fast.
Oh no. See, I mean, like it happened at such a strange time. Like we were both super busy, and it was not the first thing on our mind this week. But our hearts and our minds go out to all of those who are competing and playing your 15 games each day. I really look forward to hearing about your experience and what kind of team you used. From what I had been hearing in the Discord, at the Pokésports Discord, there have been a lot of Mimikyus being seen.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like as we expected, right?
Yeah, that's always been a threat. Even on like ranked singles, that's just like your kind of go-to.
Hey,
and also things like Sableye and stuff have been big.
Yeah,
it's actually trending on Peakalytics right now, just because I guess people are searching up what Sableye does.
Fair. I wanna. Can I derail one time?
Yeah. As many times as you like, Mike. You only have one wheel.
I have this I have this meme going through my head right now because I'm looking on my table, and
Let's hear it.
Ever since episode 14, 13, I always come to the table with a bottle of water because there was that one time where we were recording and just my throat gave out on me, and I had to wait until the break and like mute my mic at every like opportune time. Hopefully the people listening won't have remembered that because I masked it well enough, but it was a problem one time, so I fixed it. Hydrate.
We edit this podcast.
It made me think, because I'm looking at like this not old, but an empty Dasani water bottle. Did you see there was this meme going around where like,
yeah,
you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I see.
So around the time where the virus was happening, everyone was clearing out the shelves, getting all the toilet paper and whatnot. Now it's just a funny joke. Also kind of serious. Get yourself some toilet paper. Don't take too much. But in some of the pictures, there were the only thing left on the shelves were like cases and cases and cases of Dasani water because nobody wanted Dasani. They're willing to take their chances with tap.
Oh boy, I've seen like a similar meme to that, but instead it was a liquor store with empty shelves and nothing but Corona, and every flavor of Corona possible.
Oh, that one's just in poor taste.
Yeah, rest in peace. You guys picked a bad name to brand yourselves after.
All right, let's get back to Pokemon, eh?
Oh,
he said
we do that
in Canada.
Yes. What are we doing today, Mike?
Today we're talking, people, about team preview. Team preview.
Hey!
It's kind of the unspoken guide to a game. Team preview has been around since Gen 5, which kind of changed up the entire way that you think about competitive. For in more ways than one, actually, and I'm gonna bring up some later. But this one was mostly Kevin. Kevin, you are a big advocate for team preview.
Yeah, team preview, especially in metagames like VGC, is like half the battle. Believe it or not, like the battle starts when you see the enemy team, because when you see the enemy team, you're able to make decisions in terms of what your lead's gonna be, how you're gonna play the matchup, whether you want to play this more offensively, defensively. That you only bring 4 Pokemon to a battle. You have 6 total in your party. You only bring 4, so those 4 have to somehow deal with all 6 of theirs on the team. On the enemy team. So there's just a lot that goes into team preview.
Yeah.
In terms of, I mean, feel free to like come in, because I did most of this talk is going to be on VGC just because it's a lot more in depth when it comes to VGC. But if there's like some singles team preview stuff,
absolutely,
please let me know, because I have no idea what that is.
100%, especially when we're talking about leads. With singles, you have kind of half as much to think about, because really all you're looking for is which Pokemon is likely going to be the one that comes out first, which is the one that's going to set the pace of the game. So if you see something like a Gmax Lapras in this case come out.
Mm-hmm.
Although you wouldn't really in Smogon singles because no Dynamax, Gigantamax. But for the sake of example, if you see a Gigantamax Lapras or even an Alolan Ninetales come out in first, then you know that there's probably going to be some kind of Aurora Veil coming out, or even better example would be Trick Room. If you know that a Trick Room setter is going to come out first, then that's kind of going to be what you're dealing with there. Knowing what the first Pokemon that's going to come out, knowing what Pokemon that is pivotal in singles or in VGC, to the kind of setting the pace of the game.
You guys have things like rock setters, like sticky web setters,
Yes,
like a bunch of spicy things like that. So having that knowledge is like super important in terms of what your lead is, especially if you have things like a Hatterene or a Espeon with magic bounce. You're able to just redirect those immediately if you can actually expect them before they happen. But like in terms of team preview in general, like a lot of it has to do with experience.
Yeah.
We're going to run through a lot of things that you should look out for when you're in team preview to just make it that much better for you in terms of when the battle actually starts, and just ways to counter what you're about to go up against. But for most of that core, it's all experience. I think I guess let's start off with just what you notice on the enemy team. Like immediately, those of you watching this on Twitch or watching this on YouTube can see a screenshot of a team preview. The team includes an enemy Togekiss, Charizard, Torkoal, Rhyperior, Dusclops, and Leafeon.
Can I tell you what because I know you experienced this battle, but
yeah,
can I tell you what I think?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
So I'm looking at this team and I'm almost immediately thinking Trick Room.
Yes.
Because of the fact that there is a Dusclops there, because of the fact that there's a Rhyperior there. If you see either of those two or both of those two, then almost the first thing that runs through your mind is, oh, there's probably going to be Trick Room. But the interesting thing is that there's a Togekiss and a Charizard also on that team, and a Leafeon, which don't necessarily spell out Trick Room all the time. So this could mean like if you are using Trick Room, then you can use that. If you choose not to bring in a Trick Room team against your opponent, then you would use that. It kind of depends on the situation.
Yeah, this is kind of what I like to refer to as like a dual mode team. Like it can prosper in both aspects. Like Torkoal on its own as a Sunsetter is more than enough. It doesn't have to commit to Trick Room.
Right.
And, Pokemon like Togekiss are just like a regular good stuff mon. We'll get into like good stuff teams later on. But it's like a regular good stuff mon that kind of fits every scenario. It doesn't necessarily need to have a niche. It's just always good. But
now,
yeah, that's the thing.
How does the time kind of impact this as well? You're only given 90 seconds to decide which two Pokemon you're going to frontline and then which two Pokemon you're going to bring in. Do you think that's enough time?
I think it should be enough time. There are times where I bring it really close to timer. If you're looking at all the subtle nuances of like what a team brings to the table, like for me, in terms of that team that we talked about specifically that has a Sun presence and also has a Trick Room presence, I would have to actually go back and look at my own team to see what he would want to bring against me, since he has two options. My team that I was using at the time also had a Venusaur, also had a Charizard. So my thought process was, he's not going to bring this Torkoal. If he brings this Torkoal, he assists me. So he's going to bring Dusclops, he's going to bring Togekiss, he's going to bring Rhyperior, and he's going to try to set Trick Room up. So I prepared my lead in that scenario to counter the Trick Room. And by doing the way that I had to counter Trick Room was Fake Tears, Alolan Persian, and Max Wormwind, Life Orb, Duraludon to just try to one-shot that Dusclops any way possible.
So it sounds like you can kind of gauge what Pokemon are going to be coming in based on what you can assume your opponent doesn't want to be facing. So if you bring in your team, you know what you're bringing in. Your opponent knows what you're bringing in. They can see that. So you're kind of putting your mind into the opponent, saying things like, "Oh, if they bring in this Charizard or this Torkoal or this Rhyperior, then I have a super high advantage. So they're probably not going to bring that.
Yeah. That's just like, especially in this scenario that you actually mentioned, like this is a great like screen cap that you got because it's a really good team that I'm going against because there's so many options to where I'm able to deduce it down to the most possible option. And I think in that battle, that's exactly what ended up happening. I don't remember the battle, but I'm pretty sure.
Well,
but, you know, all in all, just, yeah, like team preview is so important because you're only bringing 4. 2 of them you're leading with. So that's half your team is on the field in turn 1. So you just have to try to make the best of your ability. But what's interesting about what you were doing, Mike, when you were deducing it from just first glance, you immediately mentioned the weather. Like weather is one of the most in your face things. Like you don't have to be super well versed in VGC to know when it's going to be a weather team, especially since there's so little weather setters in this generation. But yeah, the first thing you said was sun. You saw Torkoal, you said sun. Now there's other weather teams that you guys should be looking out for. For rain, if you see Pelipper, if you see Ludicolo, that's a red flag. If you see for sun, if you see Torkoal, Venusaur, Charizard, like Mike saw Torkoal, he was like, okay, red flag. Things like Ninetales, Beartic. I mean, Hail Team's not so much. Another one worth mentioning is Vanillux, you know, Hail Team. And then Sand, Tyranitar, Excadrill, you know. Those are nasty things we don't like playing against.
Right.
But
now another big one that's kind of been popping its head up this generation, more so than any other generation so far, to our friend Ryan's major what's the word I'm thinking of? Happiness, I guess, would be Trick Room. Trick Room is another big one. You look at team preview, you see that Hatterene, or you see that Indeedee or Rhyperior or Dusclops. You can almost be certain that there's even right now in the chat, Ryan's like, did someone say Trick Room? Yeah, no, exactly. That's like, that has been a major shift this generation, and these are the Pokemon that kind of, well, some of that really spell out that there's going to be Trick Room being used. Now, what this means is that either you need to bring in something that can counter that, if you have anything that can counter that, maybe your own Trick Room, or you know, a general problem that I've been seeing, or a general thing that you need to be looking out for, is just the fact that these Pokemon are also just kind of really good on their own. Kind of save Dusclops. Dusclops is basically only Trick Room. Am I wrong?
I mean, it gets annoying with Ally Switch and stuff. Yeah. But yeah,
that's
pretty
true.
much mostly Trick Room.
That is true. Like Rhyperior is very strong outside of Trick Room as well. You know, like it's a great weakness policy holder. You Dynamax that thing, and it is just rolling all over your team.
I just learned that a Dynamax Rhyperior can't get one shot by a modest max specially attack invested Venusaur Energy Ball the other day. Even with that low special defense, that high HP makes up for it, sadly. So that's just like another I guess credit to what Mike is saying. Like Rhyperior doesn't care about his speed sometimes.
For those of you wondering why the logo is upside down, that is intentional. We're in Trick Room, people. things aren't quite what they seem.
The battlefield is quite strange. It's feeling strange. But yeah, Trick Room is just a presence. Just having those 4 turns or 5 turns. I guess it depends on what you would consider it, because technically the first turn counts.
Right.
Just having those turns of these slow Pokemon with very high other stats just going to town is very annoying. And later on, we're going to get into like counters to all these things, because there are ways to counter all this. It's not like, oh, you get Trick Room up, or if you get a bad lead, you lost the game, or else, you know, there wouldn't be a game. There's ways to play around it, ways to play defensively against it. And we'll get into those after the break. But so last but not least,
like one of the things when I was looking at that team preview too, Just trying to put myself in the opponent's shoes, looking at your team as what the opponent sees it. A lot of your Pokemon are just good, right? Like you have
Yeah.
Elders out, you have Venusaur out, you have Pokemon who kind of would nullify some of your team. How would you define that?
That would essentially be good stuffs. Now, good stuffs, even though it sounds funny, it's just a mixture of the most popular Pokemon in the metagame. Just like Pokemon that don't really rely on a specific strategy. They can focus and like do well in every scenario. Pokemon like your Conkelders, Pokemon like your Togekisses. Like you can literally just have a set of 5 Pokemon, stick a Togekiss, and it'll probably work. Like those are your good stuff Pokemon.
Basically, that's kind of how Togekiss has been. It like people have tried to use other flying types, but you know, your Corviknights and your Braviaries, they just don't do the same kind of things that Togekiss does. And typically, if you do bring one of those, you're not going to bring a Togekiss. You're not bringing both of those into a team.
Yeah.
So I mean, the fairy typing being as good as it is as well is just like, yeah, Togekiss is seeing so much play. It's absolutely nuts.
It doesn't seem to be going away even with the March 3rd update. Yeah.
Oh, no. Although I will say a very interesting thing that maybe some people might have picked up on by the time they're listening to this podcast. We had a conversation with Griffin Lettingham, aka the owner and creator of Picolytics. That's the Pokésports Plus episode that is coming out this on Monday for you guys listening live on Twitch, and then has come out on Monday for those of you listening through Spotify.
It came out on the same day, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Our timing's weird. But when we had that conversation, I learned that Picolytics is only updated at the first of every month. So what that meant is that on the first of the month, you saw usage stats for like Arcanine drop down to 4% and like Incineroar jump up to like 65. I think Togekiss was second to that one, right? 60%, something like that. And that was mainly because that was the team that people were using. People were using Incineroar and Togekiss on their team, likely even as leads. Those are good leading Pokemon that you can use on pretty much any team. But yeah, like that was the time that I learned that, yeah, it's only updated at the first of the month. That's the time that Showdown gives out their usage stats, and Picolytics interprets that. So I thought that was kind of cool. And we're coming up on April 1st too. So we're going to get a new Picolytics refresh.
April Fools. Is that a Pokésport? Nope.
No.
Oh, actually, no. Yes, it is. It goes up on Wednesday. April Fools is a Wednesday. It'll go up on Wednesday.
Oh, so it won't? Is that how that goes? We just don't have to do work on April 1st because that's April Fool's Day?
Yeah. You guys thought you were getting a Pokésports episode.
Yeah. But anyway, so Togekiss, all that was to say that Togekiss falls into the good stuffs category.
Oh yeah. And you briefly mentioned strong leads and strong leading Pokemon. What better way to get into strong leads? Now, leads are super crucial because, like I said, there's just that's half your team. So if you can have that favorable matchup, then you have momentum going in for the following turns. If you have the better 2 Pokemon compared to your opponent, then what that means is you don't have to make risky plays. You go for the brainless, mindless best play. You don't have to predict. You don't have to do anything. You just hit it hard. And, Pokemon that help you do that are, leading Pokemon. And there's certain leading strategies that are super interesting. Things like Fake Out. Fake Out's a guaranteed flinch. You can use Fake Out to your advantage because, you flinch, the biggest threat that you have on the enemy field, and then you're able to hit with your adjacent or set up with your adjacent or try to do something like that. Very popular leading Fake Out users are Incineroar, Scrafty, Ludicolo, things like that. I mean, it's had its fair share of nerfs this generation, but it's still a super sound strategy. It's still very good. It still counters things like Whimsicott. Whimsicott hates to see a Fake Out. You break sashes. there's just a lot of things you could do there. And then you also mentioned Togekiss with Follow Me redirection, Butterfree with redirection, and Didi with redirection. You're able to set up Trick Rooms a lot easier. You're able to just try to redirect attacks, especially if you pair it next to a Duraludon and a Togekiss, for example. You can redirect fighting type attacks onto the 4 times resisted Togekiss. There's just a lot of good things there.
It's real good.
Moving on. You have Intimidate. You know what Intimidate does, Mike.
Intimidate's real good. Intimidate. If you're using it for Incineroar leads, like we're talking about with Fake Out, this is kind of one of the reasons that makes Incineroar really good, right? Is you toss out an Incineroar, you get to use that Fake Out on the first turn, but also you get the Intimidate, which lowers your both opposing Pokemon's attack by 1 stage. So with Incineroar coming out with things like Parting Shot as well, you can swap out to either a Pokemon that can take a hit better than Incineroar can, or you can switch it out to a Pokemon that can, do more than that Incineroar can, just in general. So I say a lot with Incineroar, but you can also do that with Arcanine. You can also do that with Gyarados. At this point, really, we're a toss up between Incineroar or Arcanine. Most teams are using one or the other.
Those two are very interesting. Incineroar is tankier, but Arcanine's so much faster. And sometimes being the faster Snarl is so important.
That's true.
Just because of what it does to the adjacent.
Now, I mean, if you're a fan of the memes, then of course you can go for the beat up Justified. A lot of people do use beat up Justified. That's the move that, you hit. Basically, you want to attack the Pokemon on your adjacent side of the field. So your ally Pokemon with Justified, with beat up. It'll do 4 hits on them, 4 dark hits, up their attack by 4 stages, and then you'll just be off to the races. People usually use that with like Whimsicott on an Arcanine or on a Lucario, just to get that extra attack boost on the first turn. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. But those are strong leading Pokemon that if you see those in team preview, you're like, okay, I pretty much know what's going to happen. If you see a Whimsicott Arcanine or a Whimsicott Lucario, you can guess.
You can keep that out of the back of your mind. You might want to lead with your Follow Me Togekiss just in case.
The biggest thing that I learned in VGC had to do with Tailwind. Specifically with Whimsicott coming out, not so much with Corviknight or Braviary or other Pokemon that use Tailwind. Drifblim.
Oh yeah,
Drifblim. I am now at the point where I can look at team preview and be like, oh wow, that is definitely a Tailwind coming out. So either I need to send out my own Tailwind, or I need to know that on the first turn I need to take out this Whimsicott, take out the Whimsicott's partner. I kind of have to make a game plan before the game even starts, because I know that there's the potential for Tailwind to come up. Kind of the opposite of the Trick Room situation. And then, there's just an Excadrill. You see an Excadrill in team preview, and
Another interesting lead that not a lot of people are using this generation is, Discquake. Where'd Discquake go? Discharge and Earthquake. You discharge with your electric type, which hits everything on the field and does have a high chance of para. And since you have a ground type next to you, it doesn't hit the ground type.
Right. And
then you go for Earthquake with your ground type, hits everything on the field. And since you have, a Levitator or a flying electric type next to you, it won't hit them.
Oh, okay.
So you just do double spread moves, but each spread move doesn't hit the Pokemon, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So things like things that I used to use in the past were like Zapdos and Garchomp, just being able to Discquake. This generation, you could do Excadrill and Rotom Wash. Not a lot of people are using it, but it's an idea. Just remember not to have Mold Breaker if you're doing this.
I was about to say, does Mold Breaker kind of ruin that? Yeah, I guess so.
I'm not willing to try it. I mean, I guess this is the one situation you guys can bring Rotom Fan. This is the one situation.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter.
It was I've just realized kind of how far we've come through Dexit with Now, Disquake, as you call it, is now being used, or now can be used, by Excadrill and Rotom Wash or Rotom Fan,
Mm-hmm.
from a Zapdos and a Garchomp. We've made it.
Yep.
We're at the holy land of not seeing that, but we're going to see that by the end of the year, guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Oh, boys, I can't wait until this DLC drops.
Well, big congrats to everybody here in the chat right now, because we have figured out the one time that we can bring in a Rotom fan. So
I'll do it next week, I promise.
You won't.
Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
Do it. You won't.
I have to go breed a Rotom fan now just to make people happy. Just to have it on my thumbnail, just a big Rotom fan.
Yeah. Hey, before we go to the break, I have a question here from Ro. What is a tricky trick room setter?
A
One
tricky
someone
trick room
wouldn't
setter?
expect. Yeah.
A Gengar. Things like that. Things
Really?
that are like a fast Pokemon that people just wouldn't anticipate would just go for Trick Room. Especially since Gengar, this generation, I've actually seen it go for Trick Room too. This generation, Gengars typically are running very supportive sets because, Levitate is gone. So like very fast Icy Winds. If they're D-maxing, you can get defense drops with Max Phantasm. Trick Room's another option. I've actually gone against Trick Room very early in the meta, like week 3, like Trick Room Whimsicots, etc. And Whimsicott gets it. You don't expect I ran a Whimsicott with both Tailwind and Trick Room just so I can use it depending on what situation I needed it.
Okay. So you can either use it for the Tailwind or you can use it to ruin Trick Rooms.
Yeah.
I like that. I do like that.
Or if I predict them to Tailwind, I go for Trick Room and then become faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then before we go to break, there was also one other question by Tofu. Max Tofinator says, we know Kevin's favorite Pokemon is Wobbuffet. Is that still true, by the way? Is your favorite Pokemon still Wobbuffet?
Hold on.
Oh, he's got something. But what is yours, Mike? I don't think you said. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's a Wobbuffet pin.
Yeah.
Is that like an official Wobbuffet pin?
Oh, yeah.
From the
official.
Pokemon Center? Oh.
It's got a barcode and everything.
Oh, I have to order those things online. I don't have a Pokemon Center. Oh, that's a shame. No, my favorite Pokemon is by quite a wide margin Breloom. I'm a big Breloom fan. It was one of the Pokemon. Better Spore users. It was one of the better Mach Punch havers. Just Technician was really good on it. Competitively, Breloom was my favorite. Along with, I like to use that one in singles with Clefable. At a time, it was Minior. It kind of flips between a bunch of them, but I really enjoy Breloom. All right.
What about this generation?
This generation?
Yeah. Your Gen 8 Pokemon that you like the most.
Ooh, does it have to be from Gen 8? It'll be from Gen 8. Okay, you know what? That's what we're going to think about over the break. And then when we come back, let's say our favorites. See you in a
Stick around.
Stick around. And we're back. Kevin, have you thought about your favorite Pokemon?
I thought as hard as I attempted to.
All right.
Okay.
The answer is...
Drum roll. Good audio. Okay. Stonejourner.
Stonejourner. Why? I need to know immediately.
I was recently watching a Fufu video. Fufu2 on YouTube. And he was doing just a Stonejourner video, and honestly, watching Stonejourner walk around in Pokemon Camp was the greatest experience in my life.
Okay, I think
they walk around exactly like you'd imagine they do, like humans.
Oh, just normally.
But
normally, like people, except it's Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I mean, its Pokemon species is literally the Big Rock Pokemon.
The Big Rock Boy.
Yup.
Interesting.
Okay, Michael.
Okay, so it... Man, like...
Did you change your mind already?
I just did, yeah. It was like this whole like semi-quarterfinals thing, and now we're at the grand finals between like Dubwool and Obstagoon. And
Ooh.
I think it's got to go to the goon.
The goose?
I think it's got to go to the big goose.
That's what I like to hear. Obstagoon's OP.
He's pretty OP.
What does Double do? Nothing. Just make coats.
Well, hey, listen. Double does one thing really well, and that's defense itself up. All right?
It's cotton guard, body press.
Cotton
delete
guard,
all the other
body
2 moves.
press, delete. That's all you need. If you can make that thing like a normal and fighting type, please, for me, so we can get that stab, I'm down. Just saying.
Mega double.
Just
becomes a Gigantamax double. Just one.
Bring back
puff.
megas only for double.
That's actually getting into the QR corner a little bit. We got a question about that.
Oh.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. I haven't even looked at them yet. Great.
Oh,
now,
hey.
Kevin, you said in the past. Hello. Oh, and by the way, for those of you on the video version, I put up a picture of male Indeedee for Trick Room. I mean, both Indeedees not too great for Trick Room, but it should have been the female one. So let me just say that.
Male Indeedee gets Trick Room.
It does get
Female doesn't.
But it's mostly about the follow me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason that you use Indeedee in the first place. Anyway, unless you're trying to knock some people out, in which case you want to use Indeedee male. Let's look into ways to counter your opponent's lead. You said that we were going to be talking about some counters.
Now, in the case of weather, we talk about a lot of, like, when we're looking at team preview and see the opponents bringing weather. Thankfully, this generation, weather is not oppressive at all. Like, weather used to be super oppressive in Generation 5, Generation 6, and, onwards. But it's not that bad anymore. You're not forced to bring a weather setter on your team or forced to have sunny day or rain dance somewhere, because Dynamax moves are free and everyone gets them. So you got Max Water, Max Fire, Max Ice, and Max Rock that all change the weather. So all you have to do is have one of those 4 type of moves on your team, which you're probably going to have already.
You can name those max moves, right?
What happened?
You can name what those max moves are, the 4. The 4
Flare.
Yeah.
Rockfall.
Yeah. Oh, you can do it. One of them's got the word in the name.
Hold on.
Don't look it up.
I'm not. My hands are here. Why do I want to say Hydro Cannon? What's Hydro Cannon?
No. It's Max.
Thanks.
Shall I give you the water one?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay. Now let me give you some hints.
Ooze.
So
no,
it's not ooze. That's poison. Kevin.
This is so disappointing.
Listen, if you have something spurting out of the ground,
Max Squirt.
No. Gross. If you've got like a hole in the ground and just water just
geyser,
right there,
Max Geyser. Wait, I have one more. What's the ice one? Max Avalanche.
No, really bad. Dude. Really bad. You're way off. It has the word in the name. Mike? It has the word.
What generation is Piplup?
I just gave you a huge. Listen.
There are both things here we don't know.
This is Gen 5, right?
Max Hailstorm.
Thank you.
I cheated. The chat helped me a little bit.
I told you, it's got the weather in the name. Piplup is from Gen 5, right?
No, 4.
Oh, dang it.
There we go.
This is exactly the problem.
This is slowly becoming my favorite episode of this podcast. Jeez.
Episode 20. All right.
It took us 20 episodes.
Oh, man. So what do we do against all this weather, man?
You change it, Mike.
Oh, okay.
You get rid of it.
That's fair.
That's easy.
That's easy.
Or, I mean, there's other situations. Like, if you're going against Swift Swimmers or Chlorophyll Pokemon, and they're in the weather, then you just set up Tailwind. You can match it. You could set up Trick Room. You can reverse it.
Yeah.
You can close your eyes and pretend they're not there.
I mean, you can shut off your game.
Run from battles.
Reverse it, yeah. So that's weather. What else is there, Kevin?
Trick Room. I feel like we've talked about Trick Room so many times.
I know. I think this is like the third podcast where we've had a major segment dedicated to Trick Room.
Yeah, this is probably my biggest segment. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's the biggest thing that happened to Pokemon this generation. I think
true.
arguably.
That's a very good point. Mm-hmm. So, thankfully, there's a lot of ways to deal with it, which is why Ryan's crying on the inside. So you have options here. You can fake out the setter on everywhere. He's Max Geysering.
What are you doing?
You can fake out the setter. Mm-hmm. You fake out the setter. We're gonna get back to topic here.
All right.
You can try to remove the setter. In my case, I like fake tearsing and one-shotting with my hardest hitter. You could also imprison Trick Room. If you guys don't know what imprison is, it takes it so that every move that Pokemon has, the enemy can no longer use any of your own moves. So if you have imprison and Trick Room on the same Pokemon, you can imprison the Trick Room, and then the enemy can't use Trick Room. Another fun strategy is like imprison and protect, and then you know that the enemy can't protect anymore.
Yeah.
You can set up your own Trick Room to revert the Trick Room.
That's one that I haven't seen a lot of people do.
It's risky because you can accidentally give them Trick Room sometimes.
Would you think that it's worth using the turn after, or do you think it's best to predict it on the turn that you think it would happen?
Honestly, that turn after might be too late, Mike. Oh. That's my biggest worry. It's like if they get that Rhyperior set up, that turn after, that Dusclops is going for Bulldoze and breaking that weakness policy. You gotta run.
It's true.
Yeah,
you gotta get at
scary. That's the riskiest thing you can possibly do. Is just trying to set up your own Trick Room to revert it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's the only way you could win. Something to keep in mind. Something that we actually talked about with Moxie when he was on Pokésports Plus was to just play very defensively. Use a lot of protects, stall out a lot of turns, use defense boosting moves, use attack dropping moves against the opponents like Snarl and Intimidate. Just keep the low damaging Pokemon on the field as long as you can. We have to remember that if they're going for Trick Room users are typically low damaging. You have your things like your Dusclops, your Orangaroos, etc. They don't do a lot of damage. So if you can keep them around, that's fine. Just like have one Pokemon that is a non-factor and just tolerate the adjacent Pokemon to the best of your ability. That's and then just stall at the Trick Room turns. Yeah, it's only 5 turns. You can get through it. It's not the end of the world.
You can do it. I believe in you.
We believe in all of you.
That's our advice. You're fine. We believe in you.
Now,
I mean, if you're going up against fake outs too, we mentioned that fake out's a good way to deal with Trick Room. But if you suspect that it's coming, there are a bunch of ways that you can deal with that too, right? Like you can either fake out you use a fake out, you can still protect on that turn. You can switch out. You can Dynamax to not actually flinch. You can, use Pokemon with Psychic Surge. A lot of people, by the way, still don't know that Psychic Surge doesn't allow you to get flinched through fake out anyway.
So a lot of people still don't know that Prankster doesn't work in it. So stop using your Prankster moves on me.
Or keep. Or, do it. I guess fine.
No, I want people to be better.
I want to see that in more tournaments against me. But no, if you listen to this podcast, I want you to win. Then, of course, there's things like Follow Me or Rage Powder. If you see that that's coming, Stalwart is a great new ability that Duraludon has that allows you to completely bypass Follow Me users. And again, another thing that a lot of people don't seem to remember is that Stalwart is a thing. So if you see that Duraludon, just don't bother with the Follow Me unless the ally is likely something that you want to redirect.
Fun fact that I think both me and Mike learned at different times, and we both learned on YouTube. Stalwart ignores ally switch entirely.
Yes, it does.
It also ignores Storm Drain entirely. Keep that in mind also.
Yeah, it truly does. It's a really good ability. Same with Propeller Tail. Propeller Tail's really good too.
Does the same thing Star Wars does. It's just on more irrelevant Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Now, how do we counter the great and terrifying Intimidate that Incineroar has?
Defiant and competitive
True.
abilities. Bisharp, Passimian, Milotic, etc.
Mm-hmm.
You can go down the line. I've actually started seeing a competitive Gothitelle pop up here and there, and I'm just like, guys, Shadow Tag is better. Use a Milotic if you want that.
Interesting.
But
I don't know how much I like that.
That was a funky one. You shouldn't. Don't like it too much.
Yeah. Obviously, we're starting to run a little low on time, so let's just go through the rest of these ones. Tailwind is the last one that we have. Tailwind, you counter by either using your own Tailwind to match speed, or you go for Trick Room. Another one that I have in my good old brain noggin right up here is
let's hear it.
Max Airstream.
Oh, there it is.
That's another really big one.
Also, Thunder Waving. That'll negate it too.
Absolutely. There you go.
Look at us writing notes live.
Honestly. Yeah.
What's your favorite lead, Mike?
My favorite lead? It's gotta be Whimsicott and Duraludon. My favorite lead. Whimsicott
got you to Master Ball.
Sure. It did. Yeah. Mainly because of the Tailwind setup, 2, the Stalwart boost. Like the fact that those two Pokemon just kind of work so well with each other. You set up the Tailwind on the first turn, you Dynamax the Duraludon, you send out either a Max Wormwind or a Max Steel Spike or even a Max oh no. Oh, I forgot the electric one.
Mike can't do it either.
Oh. Max
Volt Tackle.
Oh, man, is it just Thunder? No. It's not Max Thunder. Oh,
is it Max Bolt?
It. No, Max it's Zolt? Not. Max moves Google.
Max Buzz.
Oh, man. It's Max Lightning. Wow, really? It's Max Lightning? That's why I forgot it. Come on.
I can't even make fun of you because I didn't know it either.
Why is it called Max Lightning, guys? Come on.
I like Max
Buzz the fact that you can kind of make that distinction on the first turn is set up an electric terrain just right off the gate. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, what about you?
I gotta say, I fell in love with Hatterene and Lightbird. I love it so much. Just that whole prankster trick room deal is just so good. And it literally carried me through the international challenge that I almost played none of, but I did very well anyway. So
hey, I mean, 2-1 games are better than none. 1.
There it is. And I think it did it went very undefeated for a while on the channel too. I think I only lost 1 battle in the entirety of 7 episodes.
Ooh,
yeah, it's super strong.
Fancy pants. Well, there you go. And that is our episode on the team preview. But before we go, of course, we need to do a Pokemon Spotlight.
Yay.
Now, this Pokésports Pokemon Spotlight was determined by using the new trending function on Picolytics, where we have Durant appearing with a 5% surge in usage. As we mentioned, you can check out our episode on Pokesports Plus with Griffin, the creator of Picolytics. So minor shout out for us and them. Now, Durants will typically use the held item Life Orb with the ability Hustle with EV's 252 attack, 4 special defense, and 252 speed. So you've got a pretty typical fast attacker. Typically wants to use the Nature Jolly just to get that little extra boost of speed as well. With the moves Iron Head, Stomping Tantrum, Rock Slide, and X Scissor. If you'd like to replace some moves, you can potentially replace those with Protect, because this is, of course, doubles Thunder Fang or First Impression, just to get that first little hit off, every time you send out that Durant. It's also a nice Max Flutterby move that you can swap out to as well.
That's a Max Flutterby is not something that you see too common either, so it's nice actually having access to it on a Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And Durant is super self-explanatory. We're not going to spend too much time on it because I'm sure you guys have gone against it before. You Dynamax, you use Life Orb, you use Hustle, and you one-shot anything that you see.
Yeah, it is a major Dynamaxer. Like you if you are seeing this on your team or on the opponent's team in team preview, just know that likely if you don't have much apparent to take care of it, that is almost definitely going to be the Pokemon that is Dynamaxed. However, I will say its typing, Steel and Bug, super weak to fire. Super not very specially defensive. So, you get it up against a Charizard or a special Incineroar, the other one, the one on all fours, Arcanine. That's the one. I remember the more recent one, huh?
The Incineroar on all fours, Arcanine.
You know, dude. People, Stark Maximum in chat's just like Mike.
Mike. We've had a long week, guys.
It's a long week, dude. I'm working from home. All right, listen. That's Durant. That's our Pokemon Pokesports Spotlight. Guys, we have our giveaway happening next week. So that is going to be one of the 4 that we give away for the month of March. So look forward to that next week starting up. Before we go, we have, boom, a QR corner. I feel like I want to have like a theme for this, like boom, 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 boom.
Mike wants more.
Hey, baby,
music.
I hear QR corners. Call in, scan reviews, and scan emails.
Collinsville.
But I don't know what to do with those questions and reviews. They're calling
there
again.
Clip it. Make it.
Don't
do it.
Clip it. Make it do it. That's my life motto. Clip it. Make it do it. Our first QR corner of the day.
That's my haircut model.
Basically. Our first QR corner comes from Mitchell via Gmail. So if you scan that right one, you can email us at pokesportspodcast@gmail.com. Who says, "Hey guys, I'm planning a competitive type match with my best friends." Nice. My idea is to use Pokemon that have multiple viable builds, but I want to completely take him by surprise. Our rules are basically 4v4 double battle, no legends or mythics. Okay. His favorite Pokemon is Togekiss, so I have no doubt he will be using one. But for my idea, I was thinking of doing sort of the opposite of what a normal build for a Pokemon would be. Love the podcast, Mitch. What do you think?
Something off meta. I want to say dual screens, Will-O-Wisp, Dragapult. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Because Dragapult is very fast, does have fast dual screens, can be used as a supportive Pokemon, also does have access to Ally Switch, which if your friend isn't too well versed in doubles, can be super annoying.
Fair.
Another one I have off the top of my head is just like an offensive Rotom, just like max speed, max special attack, modest with nasty plot. That can do some serious damage. That's
especially against Togekiss. I mean, that's the thing. Like you're playing team preview like days in advance, right?
Yeah, man. You know Togekiss is coming.
Yeah, you build against that Togekiss. If you are unprepared for that Togekiss, that is on you.
Rotom, it works.
Yeah. Now I do want to say don't get carried away with that. Don't make every single one of your Pokemon go up against that Togekiss. That's not what you want. You definitely want to have one Pokemon who you know you will be bringing in because you know that they'll be bringing that one in. Yeah, nasty plot offensive Rotom, just hyper offensive Rotom is really really good. Get that one nasty plot up, maybe even 2 if you have the ability to, and then start hitting them with some Thunderbolts. Get it going.
Another cool one is Grimmsnarl. A lot of people expect it to be like a support mon. Run a Life Orb on it, make it G-Max. Go to town.
Okay.
There's a lot of fun things you can do.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good one.
Use that Max Snooze. That's what it's called.
You're right. You are G-Max Snooze. Yeah, you're right.
G-Max Ooze?
I will be using a G-Max snooze shortly after recording this podcast. Tom via Gmail writes, what features from past games have since been removed? Which of those are your favorite features? Okay, let me try that one more time. What features from past games that have since been removed are your favorite features? Personally, one of my favorite features that I wish they didn't remove was, what is that? Berry farming that he wrote? Might have been berry farming.
Berry farming.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would be so good for working on my curry decks. That's true. Oh God. It was one of those mindless tasks that I enjoyed doing that felt kind of like harvesting fruit from trees in Animal Crossing. Out now, thanks Nintendo. Wish they brought that back. Love the podcast. What do you think?
The Underground.
What?
100% the Underground from Gen 4. You remember that?
Oh, the thing where you like tap on your screen and like break the rocks to get fossils?
Yeah, and you get free stuff, so you make your hidden base, you can run into other people's places. It was fun. Or just hidden bases in general. Well, I guess they did bring that back, but you know, it's gone now. What about you, Mike?
I mean, we still kind of have berry farming. We just have like berry farming plus the occasional what's the
rodent?
Big rat-a-tat.
Greedent.
That's it. Yeah.
Squavit.
Yep.
You shake a tree now.
Oh, you shake a tree. It feels worse.
Mm-hmm.
I did like berry farming better. What did I miss? I know exactly what I missed. The flying around on Aladios in Oras. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
that transitioned into the Smash theme.
Wait, they both came out in the same year. I'm on to something.
Oh,
we're on to something.
Interesting.
All I'm saying,
we also both miss Mega Evolutions.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
Well, there are some people who very much don't.
Well, they're wrong, Mike.
Like, we got such cool designs, right? Like, they were new takes on our old favorites. Like, some of them were weird and broken, but they were good and cool.
I'd rather they balance them instead of delete them.
Yeah.
But
who's going to use a Beedrill now? What's a pincer?
Poor pincer.
Poor pincer, man.
Mawile's in the game. It's in there.
That's the ultimate disservice.
I don't know if you guys knew, but it's there.
I did Mawile so dirty. Mawile's one of my favorites in Gen 6, not gonna lie.
I mean, because it's so good.
Yeah. I had
it's what
that
made
on my
me want to
team.
play Trick Room.
It was one of my favorites.
You didn't even need it in Trick Room. Like,
no. You don't need that on Trick Room. You have huge power on it. Why not? Oh man, Swords Dance Mawile? That was my jam. It's true.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
I'll take a second. Okay, second over.
Kevin, where can people find you?
I forgot. Instagram, Twitter, X-Ray-Salvation.
You can find me Instagram, Twitter, and I don't know, YouTube, I guess. At StillJustMike everywhere. MSI.com, Acer.com. What's another computer? IBM.com/StillJustMike.
NVIDIA.
Exactly.
You could download my NVIDIA card at
You can also download this podcast wherever you find your podcasts, like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a rate or a review or a subscription over there. All of those are good metrics for us to have from you. So thanks if you do that already.
Virtual kiss, because we can't. We have to stay 6 feet apart.
Oh, true. Yes.
Rest in peace.
So for the next couple months, please no approaching us in the streets like normal, because 1, we won't be in the streets, and 2, we need to stay at least 6 feet away. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Pokésports and subscribe to us there. If there's anything that you talked about or that we talked about this week that you want to see, then you can probably find a video of it there, including the picture that I showed at the beginning with the team preview. You can look at that to see how Kevin actually did with that team. Check us out on our Teespring to look at our cool merch. I've got mine. Kevin's got his. We've got that's a new one actually that Kevin's wearing. I don't even have that one yet, so you might actually be a person who gets it before I do. So, Canada. Find us on Twitter at Pokesports Pod. Find us on Instagram or Patreon at Pokesports Podcast. Especially Patreon if you want to listen to our post game, which we're going to get to right after this. You can listen to all of our podcasts a full day early, as well as get discounted merch from our Patreon. So worth checking out for sure. Before we go, Kevin, you want to impart any final little bits of wisdom?
No.
Oh.
I think we've butchered our bits of wisdom enough here, Mike. We can't even name Pokemon moves.
Okay. Okay. Here's my bit of wisdom.
Follow us everywhere.
That's a good one. Also, if you're going out to a grocery store, get what you need, please. You know, what is that you're holding right there? Are those Peeps?
Rubber duckies.
They're just straight up rubber duckies. They look like Peeps.
You know those
we're coming up
machines?
On Easter. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. You know those claw machines at like amusement parks where it's like winner every time? These were the only things I've ever won in my life.
That
Mike.
was you being those ducks scream winner every time.
That was literally a projection just imposed upon everybody.
It can also be literally a projectile if you throw them. We will see you next week. What were you going to say? Oh my God, no, don't throw that at the camera, you idiot. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.